This is the discussion segment where we are going to look at a nagging topic because a lot of people are complaining about what to put in the mouth, that maybe out of poverty, whatever you see, you go and they put in your mouth, and whatever crosses your way becomes food, okay? Because you cannot afford what you want to eat as a person. That's why I want to address this issue. Addressing food safety in Nigerian markets is very important to us. A lot of people are down, a lot of people are even dead, owing to this eating whatever that is available. Okay, yes, and I am Ijoma. Obina is with me. AJ is also with us. But in a very short while, you're going to see us. But we'll have a guest that has also joined us. She is Dr. Rose Amasiani, a program manager, food safety and hygiene, WASH, a Ministry of Health. She is also the hygiene education officer, Rosawa. Good morning, Dr. Rose.
Good morning, Anambra.
Adema, good to have you here. Good to have you here. Okay, yes, you heard my intro that sometimes these things are caused by poverty, that you eat whatever is available because you can't afford what you want to eat. So, how did we get to this level, Dr. Rose?
It's because of present disposition of the country.
You may need to speak up now.
Present disposition of the country where we have inflation and because of poverty and ignorance, people now resort to eat whatever they see to make both ends meet. But in as much as things are food commodities are the prices are exorbitant, it will not make us to eat food that is not safe. Because anything that is not safe, it might be injurious to health. It might have contaminants that will contaminate the food, that will have a health hazard to the system. So it's good in as much as the commodities are all that expensive in the market. We have to look critically and make sure that whatever we eat, whatever we put in our mouth, be it food, be it water, must be safe for human consumption to prevent foodborne diseases.
You just talked about foodborne diseases. Now, reports have it that in Nigeria, an estimated 173 million cases of diarrhea is being recorded, with approximately 33,000 deaths attributed to foodborne diseases. Now, the treatment also costs around, let's say, 1.7 billion US dollars. This is a very recent report on foodborne diseases. Now, what do you think can be done to actually reduce these numbers? Because these numbers are quite heartbreaking, they are quite appalling.
You know, foodborne disease in food can be contaminated by either microbes. It can also be contaminated by chemicals. It can be contaminated by allergens. So, whatever causes the food contamination, one has to be very cautious of what the person is eating. Because I know some people say those numbers might even be more than safe.
Yeah, the reports.
The hospital.
Exactly, the reports that are underreported.
Yes, maybe because they don't have money, they'll be managing themselves at home. It might be the number might be more. But not everybody that have diarrhea reaches the hospital. It's only those that came to the hospital that you have those data. So, what we have to do to reduce it is along the food supply chain. Whoever that is handling food, be it in the farm, from farm, because some chemicals which we use to plant our foods in the farm might contaminate the food and also cause a health hazard. So starting from farm to production, to in short, in any handling of food, down to the table, along the food supply chain, safety is very, very important to prevent all those foodborne diseases, be it microbial, be it chemical, be it allergens. So that is what we will do. And whoever that is producing what human being is eating must make sure that the person considered critical control points, like all the food industries, where food, the condition that food has to be kept to avoid being contaminated. Even during storage, there are the storage temperature which food can be kept to prevent microbe to contaminate the food. And also at home, while preparing the food, there are we have to maintain proper hygiene, cleanliness. Starting from the food material, you have to, before you cook that food, you must wash it thoroughly, and you must sort the cooked and the raw food. Don't mix cooked food and raw food together during storage. You must cook food thoroughly, because microbes come with food. You must cook food thoroughly, and you prevent food from contaminants like molds, because molds can cause contaminants in food. Even if you boil the food even at high temperature, the mold might die, but the toxins remains there. Yes.
Scary.
Yes, it must be there. Like, let's assume a food that is controlled by aflatoxins flavors, which causes aflatoxin in food. If it has been performed in that food, and let's assume table food like maize, family that always eat table food cereals, consume it over a long period of time, because the effect is a widespread, it takes a longer time. The family might be consuming that food all the time. That toxin is still remaining in the food. In as much as the food has been boiled, the microbe has gone, which is the filamentous fungi, aspergillus flavor that causes that toxin. So at storage temperature, there are temperature you keep that food. You must not make that corn, or maybe any cereals, or even fish we eat. You can see fish you buy in the market. You see, when you taste it, you see that it has been contaminated by molds. The taste will not be normal. Do you understand? Even meat.
Even rice.
Even rice, when you check the color, you see that the color of the rice might be, you see this rice now, they tell you this one
becoming dusty.
Dusty. Mold has grown in the food, especially fungi, filamentous fungi, molds. You understand? And most of them causes cancer. Like if it's aflatoxin that contaminates the food and the person continue to consume it, there are some molds that can cause serious damage to the immune system, like the one of deoxynivalenol, if it's contaminated by fusarium, or when it's contaminated by penicillium, that Zerolone, that can cause permanent damage to the immune system, permanent damage to the reproductive system. And somebody, you wouldn't even know that food, where you got those sickness, came from food you have been consuming over a long period of time. And maybe you have consumed those, the toxin, mycotoxin, beyond the acceptable limit for human consumption over a long period of time. And the sickness can emanate in a home which doesn't have any history of that sickness. That is why producing food, processing food, you must store food at a temperature that will not permit the growth of microorganisms, be it mold, be it bacteria, or be it viruses. Do you understand? So that the food will be stored in a temperature that will prevent all those organisms.
Now, talking about food safety in Nigerian markets, I'm sure we all go to Nigerian markets and we see the, unauthorized display of consumables, you understand? Sometimes you see people are selling edible things by drainage systems, unhygienic environment, and people still go there to buy. I remember back in the days when we were much younger, there used to be health workers that investigate a cow before it's being killed, and then, the meat now start being sold. They usually have this apron they wear, and they have a tag around their neck and everything like that. These days, we no longer see them. What is it that Nigeria is now taking? We've now resorted to leaving what we eat and consume in the hands of God, rather than taking the normal measures in order to prevent food poisoning and the rest of it all.
What you observe is also, I also observed it. In as much as we continuously give sensitization, every year we'll be on the media talking about safety. Even in my office, we also move around to tell them about the necessary things they're supposed to do. But behavioral change, our people, behaviors, everybody do anything they want to, they like. Maybe because the law is not strong, that's strong, you understand? You have the law, but making the law to be strong so that anybody you caught will be reprimanded. So in as much as you are talking to them, they will keep on doing what they are doing. Imagine exposing like akara and even that meat you are talking. Meat, that one is very, you can wash the meat and cook it again. But that akara that is ready to eat, you see them, they expose it to the reach of flies, to the reach of dust, and dust can contain microbes.
Even fruits.
What do you
watermelon.
They cut it and they'll like flies will perch on it, perch on the fecal material and perch on it, and it might be the fecal material that contain maybe they contain cholera, vibrio cholera, or contain salmonella typhi. And the person wouldn't know that indirectly the person has consumed fecal material through the flies, because fly has wings, has a hairs over the body. After patching on the food, now patch on the ready to eat.
You even see them. What's the patch on your food? They do like this.
They wash their
hands.
Everything, the content they have, and in every pinch of physics, have millions of bacteria. Thousands of fungi and these viruses. Do you understand? The thing is that we need constant proper sensitization, and also for government to help us make our law to be strong, so that you have to, anybody after sensitization and the people continue to do what they're supposed to, what they told them not to do, you have to call them to order.
Now, talking about calling them to order, now, what do you think about the market, the dirty nature of most markets? That's definitely not the job of the government. That's for the people that are making use of the market. Because hardly can you go to a market and you see market sparkling clean. So is it, like you were talking about the behavioral changes in human beings, are we that dirty? Now, from the place where the food is being sold to the people that are coming to buy, they are both culprits. So what do you think can be done in order to sensitize that? Will you now tell somebody that, okay, because where you're selling this stuff is dirty, I won't buy? That is even where people even go to patronize the most.
If everybody, because food safety is everybody's business. If all of us put hands together, we'll have to make everybody conform to maintain food safety. If I talk and you talk, if you go to the market now, see somebody that exposes, like me, I always say it, exposes meat or exposes ready to eat food, just tell the person, madam, you don't know that you're supposed to cover this food, or even the surroundings are dirty. In the market, they collect a lot of levies from people that are selling.
Yes, the place is very dirty.
Very dirty. You see, once little rain falls, they will carry all the rubbish, garbages they have from their shop and pour it, and every place will litter. It's behavioral change, and people refuse to change.
And we have market
sanitary
sanitations and all that.
Something like that.
People that
So are those ones from the market? I think they're from the Ministry of Local Government. Ministry of Affairs that is attached to the local government. I think that's where they come. The market sanitary officers to come and supervise the market, inspect the market to make sure that everything is in order. Are those things still there? Do we still have them working? Or they go to the office of the head of the market, collect envelope, and endorse them that the market is excellent?
I don't know whether they collect money.
Well, we are Nigerians now. We are Nigerians.
But market in Nigeria is always very dirty. That's my
very
problem.
dirty. That means nobody is supervising it.
Especially when they sell consumable, perishable, like if you stop at the road, that one by, what is it called? Onitsha. Army garage or whatever. Before you even approach that thing, the stench, you just...
Because that's a big drainage in front of that place, and they still pour the cabbages.
The cabbages,
perishable food.
And they're selling carrots, vegetables, pineapple, everything you can think of perishable, they sell it there. And the whole place is looking so sometimes you just, out of annoyance, you just drive past and then you go. And they tell you that the things are very, very cheap compared to other places there.
All right, let us look at...
We're trying to combat, Ministry of Affairs want to combat that thing now. There is this Nigerian Food Vendors Association that have come to partner with Anambra State government for them to move it right every nook and cranny of this state to ensure that people do the right thing as concerns food safety.
Beautiful.
But you see that when you when they come to change maybe their old way of behavior, we even like to fight them. But that will not deter us from doing what
there should be sanity in those places.
There are people now working with us. They're in all the local governments. We have focal persons from the health sector and also from the Food Vendors Association to make sure that people do the right thing.
Who are these food vendors?
Yes.
The restaurant owners and the whole.
Food vendor association that every people that are selling anything in Nigeria, in Anambra,
cooked food, or
both cooked, both even
anything that has to do with food. I mean,
pure water production that they must work hand in tandem with them to ensure that the people do the right thing. And a report brings to the Ministry of Health. So we are now. They just came to partner with us. Very soon, the needful will be done.
All right, let us look at food preservation, because that's another aspect of food production that is being overlooked. Now, reports have it that chemicals like paracetamol being used to soften meat, carbide used to ripen fruit, sniper, the very popular sniper, and insecticide is used to preserve things like beans, hypo being used in fufu, and formalin to preserve fish. So these are some of the reported practices that can be said to contribute to food poisoning. So are these aspects being looked into too, or there is an oversight about it? And if it's been looked into, what are the measures being taken to actually, stop some of these practices?
Our people, they want to do things in a fast way. Okay, look at that picture you showed now. Storage of the way of arranging those commodities are not even palatable. You have to keep food. There will be separation of each food. Each of them not supposed to touch each other. And in preservation, people are trying to. You heard about using paracetamol to softening food. Even kaba to ripen fruits and banana and all the rest of them. All those, that is what we are talking about, the chemicals contaminating the food. It's very dangerous.
Using paracetamol
to soften food. And even use acid to fry granite. Acid to fry granite. They will just pour acid on the granite. Granite will just die. Instead of putting granite as the way they used to do it before.
The most shocking one is the hypo in fufu. It broke my heart because I'm a fufu person.
It to get whiter.
Hey,
do you understand?
Come on, buddy.
All those things are what our people are suffering unknowingly. And even now, they have resorted in cooking fufu without even putting it in the fire, and they bring it the first one for the second time and do it.
They say if it goes the second time,
no starch is built. They will use waterproof and tie it and put it in the cell and cook it once and use machine to pound it.
So these things are so because we see this. It's very.
Why using that waterproof to cook that fufu? The waterproof contains dioxin that will diffuse into this. No, it's not good to use waterproof to cook even more or use up or this apple now. So most of this apple we are eating outside are being cooked with waterproof. No reduction of starch that's supposed to move out as you cook the first one and the second one. And they use machine. And even when they are pounding with machine, some of the particles of the iron in the machine might be entering into the food. So it's a bad practice our people. It is disgusting when you understand. They're trying to keep people. Most people now that are dying as a result of poor handling of food. Do you understand?
Even apple.
To cut corner, yes.
Hi.
Look, apple, that is what they're doing
making
now.
Too much emphasis on apple.
No, it's heartbreaking now. I consume apple a lot now, so it's breaking my heart.
So Dr. Rose, what can we as the end user,
consumers?
The end consumer, how can we detect the difference in these things? Just like you're talking about using apple and using cellophane bag to cook apple and the rest. What can we visibly see and they say, okay, this one is not it? Just like we know of meat. They said once you see meat that there's no fly perching on it, that means it has been, preserved with chemical and stuff like that. So what are the visible signs that we can see?
That one of apple, there's nothing you can even see. The only thing is to tell people,
you can't smell?
You can't even know the difference, because after poisoning, they will just wrap it waterproof again. You won't open it and say, let me smell. It's when you like it, you see it, you buy. And you don't know that. The best thing you will have to do is maybe prepare it by yourself. Buy the apple by yourself and prepare it. Even the one.
No, I do it sometimes.
Even soaking the apple self. Those that use chemical to soak it, so that it will be softened maybe in a day or 2 days, and also to make it white.
What is the idea of a day or two rather than go the normal 4 or 5 days?
4 or 5 days.
So that they will be making sales every day.
Yeah, for economic reasons.
Knowing the hazard that causes to consumers. So we that are consumers are also supposed to be cautious of what we are eating. So we cannot use our money to buy poison that will be killing us.
Now, can the ministry probably go on tests in the market to figure out this, just like we have NAFDAC, they sometimes go into pharmacies, get drugs, test them, and the rest of it all. Can the Ministry of Health, for instance, go into the market and then discover these people that are doing sharp practices in order, you understand, to make quick money, and then probably end up sending unsuspecting consumers to the hospital?
Our ministry is always good to move right from where they're producing it, where they're cooking the apple. Do you understand?
Yeah.
If we just have tea, that's why we are telling people, if you just have, if you see something, say something, so that we know where and where they are doing it. Do you understand? All those sharp corners.
Do you have team of supervisors that can do this?
Yes. We have our people from Ministry of Health and also from LGA team, focal persons, and the directors of all the local governments are part of this. And they were inaugurated in Anambra State for this food safety, coupled with the people that are collaborating with us. But we are still having problem in the field of allowing access to some markets. They will tell you all those protocols they normally have, but we are trying to break all those things, meeting the SPAD to ensure that they allow us to have access to market. But I know that that within a short period of time, people will now sit up and do the right thing. If he enters, there are some factory you enter where they produce bread you eat, and all those certain things they put in the bread, they will tell you there is no bromate. Yes, there is bromate there. Come and check the surroundings where they're preparing the bread. You will shout. These people I told you now posted in Ogogo where they're producing wine. We don't know whether it's Zobo they used to. See the bucket, see the mouth of the bucket where that is Zobo is written and the bottle. See, but sea level, everything, fake wines and all the rest of them. There is many in this Anambra state, and people are consuming it. And when it comes to the market, it takes only people that are very distant to know the one that is the difference. Or maybe you have been tasting this wine and you bring another one and notice that it tastes different.
It's not really
but
the
you
same
wouldn't know where
thing.
they produce it, whether it is at their backyard. You understand? Our people are killing people. So the only thing is that we're supposed to, everybody supposed to have conscience. What are you producing and giving to the public? You want to make sharp money. And you're running many people's life.
Yeah, talking about
shorting
partnership.
people's life.
Do you also partner with NAFDAC? Otherwise, what role does NAFDAC play in ensuring food safety in Nigeria?
Yes, in food safety, every MDAs have their own
Rule.
Environment have their own. Agric have their own. Minister of Health, even NAFDAC, they have their own. But will also meet at a point.
A collaboration,
Do you understand? So, food safety is just something that came in, will I say, new in the state. Do you understand?
I wanted to ask you, do you have any law backing?
We have law,
policies,
but the problem we have in our state now is domestication of the policy, so that it will be a working document.
It's a national policy.
National policy, which we are trying to domesticate in the state.
Okay. What's stopping it?
You can't domesticate it without
the approval of the state house.
Approval of the state, and you have people that you have to invite, people that are the technical aspects that are having this thing, to ensure that we have to do it, review the documents. Review are supposed to come. It takes money. You have to invite them, keep them in a place, invite all the stakeholders so that we look at the documents, make it a working document for the state, and then the House of Assembly will adopt it as a working document for the state. It's not only what Minister of Health.
It's not supposed to be held by any form of bureaucracy, because we are all involved in this. Okay, so if it is money, we have money.
Documents now. If you now move to the field and then somebody derails, and maybe you have given much sensitization and enhancing someone that fall culprit of all these things you are saying.
You can act according to the ambit of the law. But the Anambra State is still part of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I do not know about this legislation that has to do with food production. Of course, we know the agencies, the likes of SUN, the likes of NAFDAC, and the FCCPC. Very recently, one of the bakeries in Anambra State was even closed down or something like that. So are they not, I do not know if you also have an idea of this legislation. So within this legislation, are there not stipulations as to how, state agencies can also, arrest the situation? Must you have to?
You have legislation, you have a policy, you have a public health law.
Okay.
But once national, after national doing it, you have to now do it, now domesticate it as to the one as it will suit us. What will suit Anambra might not be the same thing in Lagos State because or Nasarawa. So you have to do our own to make sure that it suits us, and it will now be a document so that anybody in the field, if you just derail, now the person can now maybe give you abatement notice because of you did. But when you don't have that law standing by, it will now be a very big distance pushback because the person will now, if the person charge you to court, you don't have a law
in the state to actually.
We have even tried to make it happen, but you can't do it alone.
All right.
You understand? By God's grace, okay. I believe that when our spirits look into the matter, as maybe the second time, we'll now have a document that will guide it because people are dying. A lot of people are dying as a result of consuming of food that is not safe, whether food, whether drinks, water.
Yeah.
Because do you understand?
In the studio with Dr. Rose Amastiani, Program Manager, Food Safety and Hygiene, WASH, Ministry of Health. She's also the Hygiene Education Officer. That was we were talking about addressing food safety in Nigeria. Sincerely speaking, it's really worthy of addressing. Apart from the fact that we are having food shortage in this part of the world, then the little that we have is killing most people. That's why we are really talking about this thing. I remember when I was much younger, I used to follow my grandma to the market and the rest of it all. And whenever we go to the abattoir, we used to see vultures hanging, perching on things, on buildings and around that. I was at Patak the other day, not even a single vulture. What's happening? As in, are they now using vulture to make chicken for us?
Maybe they chop the vulture.
And now, there's in school they say that wherever you don't see a vulture, know that what is being killed there is not fit enough. If vulture cannot eat it, then how come humans are eating it? So what's happening, doctor?
I don't know whether vulture has gone into extinction.
But
so me, I don't even know.
Do you notice that when you were much younger, you used to see vulture flying around? But these days you actually.
She doesn't even know what is vulture.
I know what is vulture, but I don't know that.
You don't know why they are disappearing? Is that not a call for concern?
Maybe the male or no more fertilizing.
We don't chop all the vultures.
I don't know.
Well, I think that should be a call for concern.
No, sometimes I normally be in the market.
People they chop vulture now.
I used to do maybe occasion. I always be there early in the morning. I don't see them putting chemical on the meat.
What?
Early morning, let's assume I have occasion I'm doing. I normally be there so that I buy meat directly from the owner of
the
cattle.
Yes. So I have never seen any of them rub anything on the meat. Immediately they just kill this thing. They select the part I want and I don't even check whether there is vulture or no vulture. So maybe vulture has gone into extinction.
Probably to go. Now talking about your food vendors and the association and the rest of it all, that association, that group, are they responsible for those vendors that push food in cart? Like the women selling food in wheelbarrow and the rest of it all? Who tests, who get to certify what they cook and they sell? You see them at building sites, you see them at motor parks, you see them various places. Nobody knows where these women come from, the hygienic conditions where this food, these meals are being prepared. Is that not something worrisome to think about too?
It's worrisome. That is why we are in the field now. We are doing enumeration, collecting of data according to grade. So that we now, after the data, they say we now result in training them. Because when you want to reprimand somebody, the person must have known the good practices, the standard of operation. You understand? We are starting enumerating them now according to categories. We have the one of restaurant.
That's going to be a huge job to do. Sincerely speaking.
According to the Akarastella, they have their own
unions
hotels, they have their own. These ones they have their own. So that when you are training them, You now train them according to the level. Bring it to the level they will understand.
They will understand.
So that is what we are doing now. Do you understand that we are still doing enumeration? But we are still having problem when we enter the field. See clashes of interest.
Okay.
You see clashes of interest. This will tell you that they will have a policy that specified this is your rule. Environment, this is your rule. Health, this is your rule. This is your rule. But we will still get to that.
Well, let us look
I believe Anambra will still be good when it comes down to food safety.
Let us look at climate, considering the humid condition of Nigeria. Now, there have been a lot of talks about it contributing to also the, unhealthy food in Nigeria. So the big question is, what is the climate condition? What's the weather? What's the geographic condition of Nigeria contributing to food poisoning? Is it negative? Is it positive?
Anambra, Nigeria is like Anambra now. We're in the tropical rainforest.
Yeah.
There are some that are in the Sahel region. Do you understand? Sudan. Like if it's our own now, this is the rainy season. Food stuff now gets spoiled because of humid weather. And there's not much sun to
dry them.
To dry them. Do you understand? That is why we have to eat food. That we don't supposed to keep our food to be spoiled by either microbes. We have to reduce it, make sure that we eat food. That, now the food we are harvesting now, we don't harvest corn now. In the corn is being produced in a large quantity in the north, and they are not in the tropical rainforest. They have drier weather than us. That is why all those ones, you have to dry it so that remove some of the water content, because the water content that causes the growth of microorganisms.
Okay.
Or we store in the refrigerator at refrigeration temperature. That is storage temperature that is adequate. Each food has its storage temperature in the refrigerator. Do you understand? So what we have to do, you can't just, God made us to be in this type of climate, like we that are in tropical rainforest. Whatever food we are eating, we have to make sure that we eat it when it's still fresh.
But we won't eat everything when they're fresh. You don't eat your beans or your rice or other stuff. So let's basically look at a method of preservation. So how do we preserve our food? Grains, meals, all those ones, vegetables, and a whole lot of them to ensure that they don't get contaminated before we eat them.
One, storage. You don't supposed to store edible raw food with cooked food. I said it before.
How do you mean?
You can't just store raw food. Maybe store meat together with cooked food. Even if you store it together, now you have to put the meat in a container, closed container. Not putting your meat in the freezer. You now carry exposed food that is raw food.
Okay.
You don't suppose if you are storing them, keep them in a separate container. You can use Ziploc containers, cellophane, and store it. Do you understand? But don't store. Maybe bring after washing your maybe beef. You now wash fish. You put them all together in one basin. You're not supposed to store meat and the fish together.
Okay.
So you have to separate them in a separate container.
Different container.
And also cooked food, you also have to store it in a temperature that will not allow the growth of microorganisms. Even leafy vegetables. Just buy the quantity you can consume. But you can also store leafy vegetables in a fridge, not freezer. Orange in fridge and not freezer.
Why not freezer?
Freezer would denature whatever that is there. If you just put ogona in a freezer, bring it out the following day, it will just be water. Do you understand? You have to store it in a temperature that is commensurable.
Okay, do you just put it? Because I have tried it, you put your vegetable in the fridge just like that directly. It still gets bad. So is there any way you cover it?
It may be.
Fridge, yes.
Like you have Ziploc bags.
Okay.
Then you now put it inside and put it in the fridge.
Okay.
It will not store it for a long period of time.
Oh, I know. Some people say that you can use paper, maybe newspaper to wrap it. Is it safe? Is it healthy?
The ink on the paper?
I prefer Ziploc bag.
This Ziploc is a recent thing now. We are talking about. I saw everybody.
Initially, they normally store with a
cement bag, and it's not everybody can lay hands in Ziplocs now. So if you don't have this,
cannot keep it for a long period of time.
Okay.
Cannot keep it for a long time.
Okay, beans. How do we store our beans so that it doesn't get bad? And some people, like AJ asked the other time, they say if you don't see flies on meat, it's not safe. There might be presence of chemicals in it. And now, some people say if you don't see any weevil in a beans, that is not safe.
Of course. It's not even good for you to eat beans that is contaminated by weevil.
So,
because that weevil, as it's coming with microbes into the meat.
So what do we do?
Okay, like if it is a freshly beans that is from north, you know, they normally dry it. Their temperature is very stronger than our own.
Okay.
After drying it, you can keep it in a container. This dogoyaro, you can just plug dogoyaro, allow it to dry, and you put it inside.
Okay,
or use
that.
pepper.
Yes, you have mentioned that.
It will remain like that. It will not get spoiled.
No, but I discovered something that if weevil has entered it and you put dogoyaro, it doesn't make any sense. It will not kill it.
Okay. Also, what I normally do in my own, if I buy this thing, I put it in cans, put it in my freezer. Whatever weevil that have entered there will die with this thing.
Yeah.
Before I now bring it out.
Okay.
If I don't have space, but if I have space, that beans will remain in my freezer until it gets finished.
Okay. What other things? Crayfish, fish.
All of them I store them. Yes.
Okporoko,
If I buy my fish today, it is entering into the freezer.
I just stop making me celebrate with all this.
If I buy it enter freezer. Do you understand? Okporoko, because if you leave it, all those this thing will eat it up. That as the condition it came from the market will be the condition it will remain until it get finished. The one of I stored in December is still in my freezer.
I think the good morning crew should come and visit you, probably stay a couple of weekends and enjoy some of these goodies.
You said not too long ago that it's not good that you should just buy in the quantity that you can consume. And now you have something that
We're talking about beans.
So what are the things that we can buy and consume, and what are the things that we can keep for long storage?
She was telling me something about vegetable, living vegetable. But if it is because if you like a beans now, if you don't buy it when it is cheap, it will be very costly along the line. So what I normally do in my own beans, I buy it during that Christmas period. It is coming out fresh. And immediately it comes in, I store it in jerry cans, 25 liters jerry can, and put it in my freezer. Why I'm putting it in the freezer is to kill any weevil that enters with it. Then if I don't have much space again, I bring it out, put dogoyaro, or put pepper. As I'm bringing out the pepper, I'm returning the pepper. The pepper will keep the condition that no weevil can enter there again.
Okay.
But if it's something that is crayfish or fish or stockfish, it remains in my freezer until it gets finished.
But when you don't have good power supply,
in my area we have good supply.
It gets spoiled. It's just in your area. You are in the over area.
Well, it's still to maintain the condition of that fish to avoid it being eaten by what they call it.
Maggot.
No.
That's for the rest of. What about the pepper, the tomato, and the other ones? You get them too, you grind them, and you store. What's the life shell of those ones?
Do you know it? You can make tomato by yourself.
Tomato paste?
Yes.
I heard something like that.
Yeah, I make it. Even the one I store since Christmas is still as it is.
Wow.
Tell us.
Okay, what I normally do, I buy fresh tomato, wholesome tomato, then grind it, boil it and remove the water content. Then all this Bama bottle. You wash the Bama bottle and also put all of them there.
Okay.
Then cook it very well. Put it back in pot. Then cover it with a sack bag. Boil it at a temperature that you know that whatever microbe that come with the bottle or that enter the tomato while you are putting it,
will
die
there.
There.
But the bottle is glass, it will break.
It will not break. You just put this rice bag at the bottom of the pot.
Okay, but these days they use plastic.
I don't.
Bama, all those were witchy, all those
I don't
mayonnaise.
use plastic.
Not all of them. The
Okay.
bottled one.
I don't use plastic because they don't know whether that plastic is consumer friendly.
Okay, that's why.
So
That's why.
after boiling it, you allow it to cool. Keep it in a standing position. It will still remains, even if it's 2 years.
I think I've tried it. I didn't like it, so I keep my own fresh. I just blend it without nothing, no pepper, nothing. Just blend it and keep it in the freezer fresh like that.
You can still
So
do
I
it. Me, I
consume it
have
that way.
those ones there.
Okay.
Or you pour it like that as it's strong. It will remain there. When you bring it, it will be like stone. Just use mortar. Just
And break it and
That's something you said when you were talking about how to cook. You said you must make sure that everything is properly cooked. It doesn't include vegetables that most times we wait for a soup to get done. We add ogo, add dozeza, turn it, and then bring it down to make it look fresh and greenish. So does it include vegetables too?
Vegetables is when you want to bring your food down. That is why before you put your vegetable, you must wash it thoroughly under running water. Use salt under running water so that whatever, if there's any worms, because people might defecate in the open.
They have worms
Close
now.
to
If you
the
look
where
at them, you still see worms.
close to where that ogo was blocked. So before you, like me, I don't even remove ogo one. I normally wash it with the stock
Yes.
to ensure that
Everything goes out.
everything goes out, and I wash up to 5 times. You don't manage water when it comes to vegetable.
okay.
After washing it, then as I'm plucking it, I'm cutting. Some people normally cut before they wash.
No, people like that's what I do. In fact, I even cut in the market. Once I buy, I tell them to cut. When I go home, I begin to wash.
No. Even the chlorophyll itself, you are reducing the chlorophyll content of the distance.
Yeah.
As you are washing, you see that the color will be greenish. One, you are reducing the chlorophyll content of that leafy vegetable, and it's not hygienic, it's not safe. So the best thing is when you get to your home, don't you just cut corners because of you're cutting corners. So you wash it very.
I'm not cutting corners now. A man.
To make it sharp.
No,
You
sharp,
know.
and you enjoy yourself.
Aye.
But if you have egg over of this thing, maybe take one more.
No, I actually do wash it. I don't rush when it was.
Because as you're packing all those, both even the eggs of those things.
Aye.
So you have to dislodge whatever that
Probably
is there.
probably to be nutrient because you're going to cook it before you eat it now.
You don't cook it for a long time because the temperature.
That was why I asked this
Don't
question.
cook it for a long time.
You don't cook it for a long time, otherwise it will lose nutritional
Yes.
value.
Let's look at underreporting because I believe it's one of the reasons why people don't take this serious. Our reports say about 90,000 Nigerians are actually being affected by this compared to countries like Australia, where we have about 5.2 million cases for about 24 million people. Now, comparing it to Nigeria, where we have almost 200 million people, just 90,000 reported cases. Don't you think this is actually one of the reasons why we don't take food safety serious?
Yes, because some people might not even go to the hospital. Maybe they don't have money. They'll be managing themselves at home. Some even die at home without reporting that they die. Their cases will not be reported. The one we are seeing, we are reporting is the one that the person gets to the hospital.
Go to the
Most people
hospital.
are doing self-medication at home, and they wouldn't know the type of culprit, the organism that caused the person to be stooling. You understand? So it's because of that. Maybe as you're saying, it might be. People are not taking it serious. Some people will tell you death is death. Anything that anybody can die.
Some feel it's from the village.
Maybe somebody is
or the arrival in the office or something like that.
Arrival in the office. But at times it is food poison. It can be as a result of microorganisms. It can be as a result of chemical contaminant. There are some chemical contaminants that will contaminate the system. You wouldn't even know. The person will be managing the person's life. And at times, it's not even, there are no more much routine laboratory check on such. Let's assume somebody is suffering from aflatoxin contamination. You don't have routine laboratory check on that.
That's
one.
if it is
And
chemical.
you might be suspecting it to be another thing. Do you understand? Because the mycotoxin, we don't do much time. Unless when you have maybe an outbreak, now they will do the toxicology test to know it's not a routine laboratory check that you can go to the laboratory say check for me if I have a mycotoxin contamination.
And that one will end up as poison from the village people.
Do you understand?
Okay, let's give us just in one sentence or two the advice our people on what to do to make sure that our food is safe.
My advice to our people is that we have to eat healthy. We have to eat any food that is safe. Know what you're putting in your mouth because food poison kills.
Food poison.
Food poison kills.
Yes.
Whether chemical, whether microbial, whether anything kills. So we have to play safe in anything we are eating. We should not use our money to buy poison. We should not use our money we should not keep our food, expose our food to all those contaminants, be it biological contaminants. And we should also make sure that we don't kill people by using chemicals harmful chemicals to preserve our food, or harmful chemicals to process our food so that we make cheap money, quick money. So the life of each person we take as a result of all those things, we have to give account of all of them. So let everybody know that food safety is everybody's business, and preserve the life of our indigenous,
our people,
our Anambra, and people that are citizens.
All right, thank you.
Food,
thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you very much. This morning we addressed food safety in Nigerian markets, and then you have seen how far we went touching different areas to ensure that we eat healthy. Okay, very, very important. And what we put in our mouths is very safe, so that when you get the little money that you squeeze your life to get, you use it to buy poison and then add to the system. Thank you very much, Dr. Rose Amasiane. You're a program manager, food safety and hygiene, WASH. And then you are from Ministry of Health. She's also a hygiene education officer, Ruwasa. Thank you for doing justice to this topic this morning.
Thank you very much.